Greensleeves is definitely one of the most beautiful melodies of all time. It's such a lovely thing to play. It can be the most simple thing that you play, but you can also make it a little bit more challenging and busy with chords and embellishments. Now in this lesson I want to show you how to play this simple version of this song, and of course the goal is to learn the melody, right? But at the same time I also want to show you how we can bring more color and dynamic to such a simple melody. I played the melody with the over-ringing technique and with the vibrato. Now the over-ringing technique allows you to let the notes of the melody ring out and resonate beautifully. And so if I have to play the first two notes, the note A on fret 2 and the note C on the fret number 1, rather than just think of it as one single note, I will actually let both notes ring out. And then I have two more notes, the note D on the fret number 3 and the E string open. And again, I'm gonna let these two notes ring out. And then I'm gonna play the note F on the fret number 1 and the E string open. So far we have 6 notes. And then we go back to the D, which is already there. I didn't really remove the finger. And then the B string open and the G string open. So this whole melody is ringing out beautifully. And I'm also shaking my guitar to add a nice and lovely vibrato. Now the next section is this one. So I'm playing the note A on the fret number 2 and the B string open and the C on the fret number 1. Then I'm gonna go back to the note A on the G string fret number 2 twice, and then the last few notes, the G sharp on the G string fret number 1, D fret number 2, the B string open, and back to the G sharp on the fret number 1, and we finish with the note E on the D string fret number 2. And as you can see, every time I have a chance to hold two notes down, then I will do it, and I'll try to let it ring out as much as possible. Now when we play the melody again, we're gonna play it on just one string, the top E string. It sounds like this. Now it's almost the same melody, but we are playing it one octave higher. I have the melody starting on the fret number 5 and 8, 10, 12, 13 and 12, then 10, 7 and 3. And then the last section. So I have 5, 7 and 8, and then 7, 5, 4. And the last few notes, 2, 4 and 5, and I finish with this broken chord. It's 5 open, 1 2, which is an A minor chord. Now, as you can see, guys, even though the melody is so simple, I try to express each note with purpose. So I will add a lovely and slow vibrato. And a light slide sometimes, for example, when I go from 10, 7, and 3, I like to add this nice slide. So the very first step, just try to understand the melody. Just play the melody and just try to play it in the most beautiful way possible. Focus on the tone, make sure that it sounds nice, so that when you pluck the strings, which by the way, I'm always using the alternate fingering technique, when you pluck the strings, you have a nice and mellow tone. And with the left hand, you can add the vibrato, which you could be done with the left hand or by shaking your guitar when you play the open strings, but also a slide when you can. So a few things to make the melody a little bit more colorful. Of course, guys, the next step, let's just add some chords. Of course, guys, we're not going to change the melody. We're just going to add something to the melody. So the first chord is the A minor, so we're going to play the A string open on the second note. And as you can see, sometimes I like to play the bass note before the note of the melody. So then we're playing the bass on the A string fret number 2. So I have fret 2 and fret number 3 on the B string. And then the C major chord. Now here I'm only playing 3 strings, the A string fret number 3, the G string open, and the E string open. But I'm holding down the note D. Again, I want to try to let it ring out. And then the melody. And then the G major chord. Now I'm playing the low E string fret number 3, the G string open, and the B string fret number 3. I like to arpeggiate this chord. Then the B string open and the E minor chord. So I have 3 strings, the low E string, the D string fret number 2, and the G string open, which is the melody. And then I have the melody again on the fret number 2, B string open, and then the beautiful F major chord. Now I'm playing the bass note on the D string fret number 3 and the B string fret number 1, and then the melody on the G string fret number 2, and again, this time with the D on the bass, and the last few notes. So the G sharp on the fret number 1 and the fret number 2, and we finish with the E major chord. So I have the low E string and the B string open, the G string fret number 1, and the D string fret number 2. So even when we add the chords, we try to keep the whole thing quite melodic. Now the second section will have the melody played on one string. So we're gonna play it like this. So we're gonna start with the note A, and then we're gonna play the A minor chord again. I have just 3 strings, the A string open, the G string fret number 9, and the E string fret number 8. Again, I always like to arpeggiate the chord. I don't like to play it simultaneously. Then the melody, which is played on the fret number 10, simultaneously with the D string fret number 9. And then we have the melody on the fret 12. Now there are 2 options here. You can either play the bass on the low E string fret number 8 with the G string open. If this is too stretchy, you can play the C on the D string fret number 10. Okay? And then the melody. Now when we play the melody on the fret number 10, we're going to play the G and the B string open. It's just a G major chord. And then the melody on the fret number 3 played with the E minor chord. So we're playing the low E string, the G and the B string open. And the last few notes. So I have the melody on fret 5 and 7 and the F major chord. I'm playing 2 notes, the A string fret number 8 and the E string fret number 8, and then the melody on the fret number 7 and 5, and then the E major chord. I'm playing 3 strings, the low E string, the B string open, and the E string fret number 4, and then the melody. And we finish with the last chord, the A minor, the broken chord. We're just gonna add the A string open. Now the second section opens up with a different chord, which is the C major chord. The cool thing is that most of the second section is basically the same as the section 1. We just have to learn the first few chords at the beginning. So we have it like this. Again, guys, you can always just start with the melody and use the over-ringing technique to interpret it. So fret number 3, 3, 3, and then 2, open, and the fret number 3, the note D, B string open, and the G string open. And then the melody is the same as section 1. Now the chords that we're going to play will be the C major chord, and I'm playing 4 strings, the bass note on the fret number 3, G string open, the B string fret number 1, and the E string fret number 3. The melody again just one time, and then we're going to change the bass note and play the D string fret number 2, and then the melody on the fret number 2 and open. Beautiful. Then the G major chord and the E minor chord. Now we already learned this section. And then the same melody as section 1 with the F major, D minor, E major, and then we're going to repeat that again. C major. We're just gonna add a tiny variation. So we're gonna play the chord, the melody, and then the C major with the E on the bass. But this time we're gonna harmonize the melody. So we're gonna play the chord, and then when we play the melody on fret number 2, we're gonna play the D string open. And then we have the E string open with the note C, the A string fret number 3. And then we finish with the G over B. We are playing the fret number 2 and the fret number 3. B string open and back to the E minor chord. So. Now we finish with the last set of chords. So the melody is the same. We have the F major and the E major chord, which we are going to play like this. Just 3 strings: low E string, the D string fret 2, and the G string fret number 1. Then we're going to repeat the same melody with the F, but we're gonna play the E major, E major with the B string as well. So we have the low E string, the D, the G, and the B string open. And the last one, F major, G major, and then the melody on the G string, fret number 2, G string open, and the A minor chord. Just a quick lesson to show you how we can interpret this beautiful melody with the overring technique and the vibrato. Of course, it's a lovely melody, so you definitely want to spend a little bit of time learning it. Take it step by step, start with the melody and then add the chords. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the like button if you like this lesson. Enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. Before we get started, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We post stuff on a weekly basis, so if you love guitar, make sure that you subscribe. And also, if you like this lesson, click the like button, which is always helpful for the channel. Now, let's get started with the lesson.